Hi children, Namaste all of you. I hope that you are all well. Today we are going to discuss the topic the Peninsular Plateau. Peninsular Plateau. The Peninsular Plateau. And here in our map concern, so this is the area of Peninsular Plateau. And what is a peninsula first of all? Let us know what is a peninsula. So here, see, once observe, my dear children. Once observe, this is an area, and for one side, second, third, and three sides what is occupied with water, and one side is occupied with land. Okay, so peninsula is nothing but an area which possesses three sides water, and such land we call it as peninsula. And here so, and is India a peninsula? Is India a peninsula? Yeah. Here, so western side we got Arabian Sea, and eastern side the Bay of Bengal, and southern side we got Indian Ocean. So India has a possessing boundary with three sides of water: western side, eastern side, and as well as southern side. So because of this, we have been calling India as a peninsula. And regarding Indian peninsula concern, it is composed of old crystalline and hot igneous and metamorphic rocks. So it consists of, or it composed of, old crystalline, so rocky area. And not only that, metallic and non-metallic mineral sources are found in Indian plateau or Indian peninsula. See here, so this is the actual area of this Indian peninsula. So from northern side and southern side it was occupied, and that's why, as it is western side, it possesses with Arabian Sea, and eastern side Bay of Bengal, southern side Indian Ocean. So that's why we have been calling this India is a peninsula. So as we have already discussed that, so these composed of old crystalline rocks and hot igneous and metamorphic rocks. And not only that, there are so many metals and non-metals and minerals are also there in this Indian peninsula. And the southernmost tip of this plateau or peninsula concern, that is Kanyakumari. So this is the southernmost tip of this Indian peninsula or plateau concern. This is Kanyakumari, and which we call it as Cape of Comorin. And let us have a look regarding this Indian peninsula. For example, if you observe that this Indian peninsula, as we know that it composed of this old crystalline and hot igneous rocks, and as well as metamorphic. See here, this Indian peninsula, it was divided into central highlands and as well as Deccan plateau. So Indian peninsula has divided into central highlands. So this is highlands, and this is the Deccan plateau. Let's see, once have a look. And what was the location of this what was the location of this Indian Peninsula concerned? So this is the south of Indo-Gangetic Plain. We have already discussed that Indo-Gangetic Plain nothing but Indo-Gangetic Plain. So nothing but is a combination of three rivers: River Indus, River Ganges, and River Brahmaputra. So the southern area of this Indo-Gangetic Plain is nothing but this Indian Peninsula. So that is the one border, or nothing but we can call it as the northern part of this Indian Peninsula is nothing but Indo-Gangetic Plain. Indo-Gangetic Plain. And in this Indo-Gangetic Plain, we got here, see, there are two plateaus. One is Malwa Plateau and another one is Chota Nagpur Plateau. So Malwa Plateau and Chota Nagpur Plateau, and this is Central Highlands. According to our division concern, this is Central Highlands. One is Malwa Plateau and second one is Chota Nagpur Plateau. And let us have a look regarding this Deccan Plateau. And Deccan Plateau, where it was located? What is the location of this Deccan Plateau concerned? This is the northern part of Narmada River. Here we got Narmada River, and whereas the Central Highlands, they are between Narmada River and as well as Indo-Gangetic Plain. There is another plateau we can see here. Another one is Bundelkhand Plateau. So there are three: Malwa Plateau, western side, and Chota Nagpur, eastern side, and central we have got this Bundelkhand Plateau. And regarding, if we compare with this Indo-Gangetic Plain and Central Highlands concerned, almost these Central Highlands, those are all, if we compare with Indo-Gangetic Plain, they are possessing dry land. But whereas Indo-Gangetic Plain concerned, as they brought the sediments and rocks, minerals from Himalayan rivers, and they are made up of with alluvial soil. But whereas here Central Highlands concerned, there is no perennial river. So because of that the Central Highlands, they are dry in its nature. And the second crop of our agriculture, it depends on the deep tube wells and tanks. As due to lack of these perennial rivers, and they are depending on the second crop depends on tube wells and tanks. And whereas Chota Nagpur concerned, Chota Nagpur, and this Chota Nagpur is rich in minerals. So that is about the first part of this peninsular plateau, the Central Highlands. And if you move on, so here we have got this Deccan Plateau. Deccan Plateau, so if you move on Deccan Plateau is a triangular landmass. See here, triangular landmass, and the southern side of Narmada River, and we can see the exact location of this Deccan Plateau, and again it extends up to southernmost tip of India, that is nothing but Kanyakumari, and the border, eastern border and western border, that we call it as Western Ghats and as well as Eastern Ghats. And what is Ghat? It's nothing but composed of the small hills and as well as small hilly valley structure. And regarding Western Ghats concern, so this is Western Ghats, and it extends about 1600 kilometers, and it has got another name, we can call them as the Sahyadris also, Sahyadris. And this is, so these Western Ghats extends about 1600 kilometers, and these Western Ghats, once you have a look here, my dear children, those are all they are continuous hills, and we cannot see any kind of discontinuity here, and see, and these Western Ghats, and they join with the Nilgiris. So here is Nilgiri, a place known as Gudaluru. Okay, and they join in Gudaluru in Nilgiri Hills. And what is the height? What is the height of this? They rise over a height of 2000 meters. 2000 meters. And another important feature regarding this Western Ghats concern, one place known as Udagamandal. Popularly we used to call it as Ooty. Udagamandal, Ooty. I think some of you have visited Ooty, and you might have experienced a pleasant climate. One of my colleague, she expressed her feelings about Ooty, which is pleasant climate. She enjoyed that climate. Whenever even if you want to, whenever you get an opportunity, once try to visit Ooty. And tell me, where is Ooty? Ooty is in Western Ghats. And another important feature, my dear children, which you have to remember, that is another one, a place known as Dodabetta, a place known as Dodabetta. It is the highest peak in Nilgiris. It is highest peak in Nilgiris with the height of 2637 meters. What is the height of this Dodabetta? 2637 meters. And some of the important hills are also there in Western Ghats, my dear. One is Anaimudi, Palini Hills of Tamil Nadu. Anaimudi and Palini Hills of Tamil Nadu, and Cardamom Hills of Kerala. And these are also, they belong to the Western Ghats only. But regarding one important feature of this concern, Anaimudi of Annamalai Hills, those are highest peak, that is the highest peak in South India. What is the height of that? Once have a look here. Anaimudi of Annamalai Hills is the highest peak in South India with 2695 meters. And now tell me, which is the highest peak in Nilgiris? Dodabetta. What is the height of it? 2637 meters. Okay, where is Ooty located or Udagamandal located? It is in Western Ghats of Nilgiris. Okay, so that is about these Western Ghats. Now once again have a glance of the Western Ghats. Its extent is about 1600 kilometers, and it is another name, Sahyadris, and it is a continuous hills located in this, and these joins Nilgiri Hills at a place called Gudaluru. Regarding the height of these 2000 meters, and Udagamandal, popularly known as Ooty, located in Nilgiris. The highest peak in Nilgiris, that is Dodabetta, with 2637 meters. Anaimudi, Palni Hills, and those are of Tamil Nadu. And Anaimudi of Annamalai Hills, and which is the highest peak in South India with 2695 meters. If we move on, is the Eastern Ghats concerned, which is the eastern boundary of Deccan Plateau. Deccan Plateau, that is regarding the northern side of this Deccan Plateau, there is the Satpura range. And these Eastern Ghats starts from Mahadev Hills and Maikal Hills and Kaimur Hills, and it extends up to these Nilgiri Hills, and these are not continuous. Now you have to remember, and which is the continuous Ghats, whether they are located in Eastern Ghats, eastern side or western side, western side. But whereas eastern side concerned, the Ghats which are located, those are not continuous. But another important feature, if you remember, that the river Godavari and Krishna flows across these plateau and merge in Bay of Bengal. Okay, Bay of Bengal. So what is the height of these concern? 900 meters to 1500 meters. And what is the length? 1600 kilometers. And what is the highest peak? What is the highest peak in these Eastern Ghats concerned? Aroya Konda, and which is in Chintapalli of Andhra Pradesh. Chintapalli of Andhra Pradesh, that is about 1680 meters of height. The height of this Aroya which is the highest peak in Eastern Ghats, that is about 1680 meters. And what are the other hills which we can see in these Eastern Ghats concerned? Nallamalai Hills, Velikondas, Palakondas, and Seshachalam Hills. So we know very well about these Seshachalam Hills, that as the people used to worship one faith, and that is Seshachalam Hills. And in this is black soils formed due to volcanic activity. And in these Eastern Ghats, and some of the soils, they are black soils and formed due to volcanic activity. So that's about this peninsular plateau. So we have learned about these Western Ghats. I have a glance that this extends about 1600 kilometers, and these are very important. And Nilgiris, it joins with the Nilgiris, and as well as in Nilgiri, Dodabetta is the highest peak, and in South India, that is Anaimudi, which is in Annamalai Hills of Tamil Nadu, that is the highest peak in South India. And Eastern Ghats extends from Mahadeva Hills, and as well as Nilgiri Hills up to, it extends from Mahadeva Hills to Nilgiri Hills. And these are not continuous hills, that is we have to remember. And another important thing which you have to remember regarding these Eastern Ghats concern, river Godavari and river Krishna, they travel across this Deccan Plateau, and they enter into Eastern Ghats, and they merge in Bay of Bengal. And regarding the highest peak in these Eastern Ghats concerned, there is Aroya Konda, which is located in Chintapalli of Andhra Pradesh. The height of this concerned, that is 1680 meters. And what are the remaining? There is the Nallamalai Hills, Velikondas, Palakondas, Seshachalam, and as well as Papikondas, which is Rajahmundry, and even Arakku Valley. So all these comes under these Eastern Ghats only. And what are the important soils which we can see in these Eastern Ghats concerned? Black soils. They formed due to volcanic activities. That's all about this peninsular plateau. So another important relief feature of India concerned, that is the Thar Desert. The Thar Desert. Thar Desert. It is located. This is the leeward side of Aravalli Range. May I know, my dear, which state it belongs to? This state is nothing but Rajasthan. Rajasthan, especially Rajasthan is famous for what is the title? Another name of Jaipur, Pink City. Pink City. Okay, so that is the capital of Rajasthan, and these Thar Desert, it receives very low amount of rainfall, from 100 millimeters to 150 millimeters per year. What a less and scanty rainfall they received. How the people live in Rajasthan, we don't know. We cannot expect, because we the people belong to India, the other areas of India. But whereas Rajasthan people concerned, they are receiving a less amount of rainfall. Really, we have to think about that Thar Desert, which play a crucial role regarding the life of the people of Rajasthan, and it consists of undulating sandy plains and rocky outcrops. Here, if you observe, see, undulating the sandy plains and as well as outcrops, and it is located much of this western Rajasthan, much of the area is occupied. We can see this Thar Desert, the western side of Rajasthan, much of. And what is the climate? Which climate we can see? And we can accept this Thar Desert concern, that is arid climate with low vegetation. And there is no scope for growing of trees in this Rajasthan concern. What is the river? Luni is the only river which we can find in this Thar Desert, and these internal lakes absorb and don't reach because of this. It will have only rainy season. They will get the river will be filled with water, but it cannot flow much of the area, and even after some time they dried up. So that is regarding this Luni River. And Indira Gandhi Canal, which is the longest canal in the country, which was constructed in Rajasthan, and the longest canal in the country with about 650 kilometers, and it turns several hectares for cultivation. Okay, because of this Indira Gandhi Canal only some areas being cultivated, and they are leading their life with the help of this Thar Desert. So that is about Thar Desert. So another relief feature of India concerned, there is a coastal plains. Here we got so western, this side, yes, so we call them as western coastal plains, and these are eastern coastal plains. And these western coastal plains, it extends from the Rann of Kutch to Kanyakumari. So this is the Kanyakumari, and whereas eastern coastal plain concerned, Mahadev Hills of Odisha and Tamil Nadu, Kaveri Delta. So that was the extension of these coastal plains. And these coastal plains concerned, these western coastal plains, it is a narrower. So this is narrow in nature than this. This is narrow, and whereas east coastal plains concerned. And once again, look once again, this is Ran of Kutch of Gujarat and extends from here to here, west coastal plains. And these are uneven and broken by hilly terrain. West coastal plains, those are uneven. And if you observe here once again, you see this. Observe. So western coastal plains, and they are divided. And regarding the length of our Indian coastal line, the total coastal line of India concerns 7,516.6 kilometers, but it is a mainland of coastal line is concerned 6,100 kilometers. And what about our AP? What is the coastal line of Andhra Pradesh? That is 972 kilometers. 970 kilometers. So these western coastal plains, and they are divided into three important coasts. One is Konkan coast and Canara coast and Malabar coast. Konkan coast, Canara coast and Malabar coast. And see, and this Konkan coast concern, we talk about the states of Maharashtra and Goa. Maharashtra and Goa, we call this Konkan coast. And regarding this Canara coast concern, the state of Karnataka. And third one is Malabar coast, the state of Kerala. And all these plains are very useful for us for getting rains and also. And if we move on, the another important plains that. So we have discussed this western coast. Now let us move on. The eastern coastal plains. Once have a look. And these eastern coastal plains, they are also called as Bay of Bengal plains. And it stretches from Mahanadi of Odisha state and Kaveri Delta up to here of Tamil Nadu. So this stretches from Mahanadi of Orissa and up to Kaveri Delta of Tamil Nadu. And these are formed by, and what are the rivers? Brought the sediments and makes this land as fertile concern. The Godavari, which comes from Western Ghats, Godavari, and as well as Krishna and Kaveri. And because of the sediments which brought from these rivers, that land has become more fertile, and it has been treating as a granary of South India. And some areas of coastal plains, eastern coastal plains, they have been treating as the granary of South India. And these eastern coastal plains also divided into three coasts. One is Utkal coast, and second one is Sarkar coast, and third one is Coromandel coast. And what states comes under this Utkal coast, that is Odisha, and Sarkar coast, that is Andhra Pradesh, Sarkar coast, Andhra Pradesh, and whereas Coromandel coast concerned, that is Tamil Nadu. So here, whereas Western Ghats, Western coastal plains concerned, there are three coasts. First one is Konkan coast, Canara coast, Malabar coast, and even eastern coastal plains also, Utkal coast, Sarkar coast, Coromandel coast. And these deltas are famous for agriculture because of these rivers. And some important lakes are there in eastern coastal plains. One is Chilka Lake, which is in Odisha, and Kolleru Lake and Pulicat Lake, which is in Andhra Pradesh. So this is very important, which we have to remember regarding these eastern coastal plains and as well as western coastal plains. Another important feature of this India relief features, that is islands. What is an island? You see this. So these are the islands. Can you define island, my dear? Can you define? So is there any land here? So for example, think that this is north, this is south, this is east, and this is west. But here, no land here. So four sides, the area or the place where surrounded by the water, four sides, such we call it as an island. Once again, the area which is surrounded by water, four sides of water, and such we call it as island. Okay, so now let us have a detailed explanation about the Indian islands that we call it as one is, okay, see here, this is Andaman and Nicobar Islands. What is the location? This is Bay of Bengal, and whereas another island, that is Lakshadweep, which is in Arabian Sea. So Lakshadweep Islands, and which is Arabian Sea. So see, and regarding Andaman Nicobar concern, this Andaman Nicobar Islands, this is an elevated portion of submerged mountain of Myanmar, of this we call it as Arkan Yoma mountain. So once check here. So this is Myanmar. So this is Myanmar. So this is Myanmar, nothing but previously we call it as Burma. And these Andaman Nicobar Islands, this is nothing but an elevated portion of submerged of Myanmar mountain of Arkan Yoma mountain. And how many islands are there in this Andaman Nicobar? There are about 300 islands. And what is its nature? That is volcanic origin. What is the nature of this Andaman Nicobar? Volcanic origin. And what are the important islands? That is, we can see here in Andaman Nicobar, that Barren and as well as Narkonda islands. Those are very active active islands where the volcanoes used to erupt. That is Andaman and Nicobar Islands. And if you move on, this Lakshadweep Islands, and those are about 36 islands are there, and among these occupied an area of 32 kilometers. And regarding its origin, it is coral relief features. So those are the important things which we have to remember regarding the India relief features. We have discussed about the Himalayas. The first one, as we know, the Himalayas. Second one is the Indo-Gangetic Plain. Third one, the Peninsular Plateau. Fourth one, the coastal plains. And fifth one, the desert or Thar Desert or the islands. So these are the major relief divisions of India, and we have discussed all these things, and which are very important for our life. So concentrate on them.